Mr. Chachra, what about Mudra and Skill India? How effective have they been in achieving their objective in terms of that inclusive growth that the government is so passionate about?
A lot more on Mudra and Skill India. A lot more needs to be done, and I think this budget also talks about newer skilling initiatives. The fourth initiative under the PM Skills program has been announced today. So there is a huge skill gap. There is a whole new needed focus to augment the skill levels. I think it's a big area of work. We are crores and crores of people and crores of sort of working people and younger people joining workforce every day. So the question of skilling, at the higher end, the question of skilling at the very, very high end, artificial intelligence was being talked of. And if you see one of the big challenges that we face, and IT industry is facing it very strongly, that outsourcing which used to happen from the northern countries, from the Western countries, is likely to be hit with AI developments in a short span of time. And you can see the IT sector shares falling in response to that. So I think the question of skilling and upgrading skills at a very high, extremely high levels, but also from a totally non-skilled to a skill bracket, it needs a much more bigger focus. Skill India program is a welcome program. But in case of assessment of Skill India program, let me put it that it's a journey which has just begun, which is not even half covered. So quite clearly, that emphasis needs to go on much more. You were talking, and briefly, you were talking about green transitions with Mr. Satish, and I think it's welcome, the net zero targets by 2070, and he was talking about balances. I think that's a great path to go. But the question which we must quickly arrive at is the question of climate justice. Because as we know, the impact of climate change is differentially borne by our different social classes. And I think we must also recognize that in these pathways to achieve net zero, in these pathways of green transition, in these pathways of adaptation and mitigation, which have been announced today, the treatment has to be differential. We have to sort of look at what is happening to the working people of India, what is happening to the construction workers of India, what's happening to the street vendors of India, what's happening to the agricultural workers of India, what's happening to the small farmers of India, to the fisher folk of India, to the pastoralists of India, who are bearing immense losses. And in that path of climate justice, we must address their loss and damages. We must compensate their habitat losses, their home losses, their wage losses. So I think there's a lot of things that need to add on. As Mr. Kohli was saying, this is essentially a new budget will be announced on the 1st of February come 2025. So we have only these many months. The expectations remain huge.
Right,
some positive points and some areas which the next budget can dwell on.